Thank you for joining Rainbows Rising, where we ascend together. I am your host, Rainbow Raaja, and today we will be talking about protection and reinstating your personal power. There are two sections to today's show. The first section is talking about some basic crystals that are used for protection. We will talk about Obsidian and Mystic Merlinite. We have a couple of variations of Obsidian, as well as a meditation that will help you incorporate these crystals into your daily routine or your meditation practice. The second half of this show, I will be reading two excerpts out of Master Your Inner World by Tracee Dunsblazier, who will be joining us at the end of this month to talk about her new book in the Demon Slayer's Handbook series about karmic connections. And I'm very excited to have her on the last week of September, and I hope that you'll be here to join me. But I have been inspired by not just her Oracle deck, Rainbow Warrior Activation deck, but as well as her books, the Demon Slayer's Handbook series, where she uses provocative subject matter and stories from her own experience that I believe a lot of writers would avoid due to how triggering it might be to read. But I love her courage and how she tackles it with such fierce ferocity to share the truth with those listening. If you read it, I encourage you to read through all of the books. Master Your Inner World is really about recognizing the power you have in your world, and that things that we believe are out of our control are really within our control, and that we can overcome difficult times by recognizing the power we do have. So I will be reading an excerpt from that book a little later. But for now, let's start with the crystals. The most common obsidian is black obsidian. It is a black stone with a very high gloss or sheen, and it is most commonly found near volcanoes because it is made of lava. It is a volcanic glass. So black obsidian, the first of the obsidians I'm going to cover today, is most commonly known for grounding, but it is also really important for psychic protection, helping you focus on tasks, and helping you connect and tune in to your own potential. This stone is really important to carry on you if you are an empath or if you have people in your life that do not wish you goodwill. The second type of obsidian I want to talk about is snowflake obsidian. Snowflake obsidian is a black stone with white snowflake-like shapes on it, and it is best for integrating light into the darkness, finding the silver lining in situations, and providing gentle grounding and mental protection from fatigue. This stone is most commonly used when you are having a really, really tough time finding positivity in your day-to-day life, and you need that little boost of inspiration. If you are someone who has writer's block or work block and you just can't seem to find the mental fortitude to get through, snowflake obsidian is a great stone to work with. The third type of obsidian is rainbow obsidian. Rainbow obsidian is best used for the dark night of the soul. If you are in your dark night of the soul, it will help you move through that transitional phase, through the shedding of old skin seamlessly. It is a good stone to work with when you are doing shadow work, as it will help you accept your flaws and transform them into valuable gifts for your journey. Rainbow obsidian is best identified by the multicolored iridescent bands over its usually black, high gloss base. The stone always has bands in it. Mahogany obsidian is a brownish red with some black mixed in with it, or you might find black and red together. It is usually in the shape of a spear or a long piece. And this obsidian is good for helping you with boundaries, helping you cut cords with unhealthy people or unhealthy patterns. It helps you reflect on karma and reset any karmic loops you might be in. And it helps you with extraction, or the removing of foreign energy or excess energy within your body. And the last type of obsidian I would like to talk about is peacock obsidian. Peacock obsidian is a shamanic protection stone. It is most commonly identifiable by its similar appearance to rainbow obsidian, but it does not have the bands of color. It looks more like an oil spill because the colors mesh together and overlap and almost swirl around in the stone itself. Much like black obsidian, peacock obsidian is used for protection, but it is best specialized for protection when our soul is apart from the body. So astral travel, dream work, and journeying, our souls go on adventures and leave our body. And peacock obsidian can protect the body and the soul as they separate and go. The body waits in anticipation for the soul to come back, and the soul goes out and has its adventure. And peacock obsidian is able to create a bind between body and soul and protect it on its journey. And the last stone of protection that I would like to talk about is Mystic Merlinite, or better known as Indigo Gabbro. When I work with Mystic Merlinite, I feel very grounded, but I also feel a lot of energy moving through me. It's a lot easier to release anything within me that I'm not comfortable with. And it shields and shrouds you in a way that makes entities of lower vibration less likely to interact with you. This stone is used a lot by witches, shamans, and other metaphysical practitioners who connect with beings of light and animal spirits and fairies, because the stone doesn't block out beings of light or fairies or animal totems or ancestors, but it does make other lower vibrational entities less likely to interact with you. It also protects you from any black magic, and it helps you connect with the Akashic records. So, of all the stones I've talked about today, they all help with protection or shadow work in some way. And I also wanted to bring light to how these stones can be utilized. We'll go more in depth in later episodes on how to use specific stones or how to increase your connection with stones. But for now, let's start with a very simple exercise so that you can become familiar with your crystals. If you have one of the crystals that was featured today, please go ahead and grab it and sit with it. Once you have your crystal, I just want you to close your eyes and bring your attention to the crystal itself. Do you feel anything coming from it? How is your body reacting to it? When you close your eyes, do you see any colors, any images? Do you hear anything? After just observing how your body reacts to the crystal, start a dialogue. Crystals are living, growing beings just like us, and they deserve the attention and the focus that we deserve. So take a moment and acquaint yourself with your crystal. Hi, my name is Rainbow Raaja, and I would like to work with you today. What would you like to be called? Just feel it out. You won't probably hear words, but you might feel a little buzz of excitement for being acknowledged, for being recognized. This is confirmation that the crystal is happy to see you, happy to be talked to. And you can continue to talk in this way, asking it questions or just telling it about yourself. Make sure that you try and find out what this crystal wants to do for you, what lesson it brings for you, if there's any specific type of work that it would like to do. Remember, you don't have to talk out loud to your crystal. If that makes you more comfortable, that's totally fine. But you can just sit in quiet meditation if you have the patience for that. Not everyone is at that place in their journey, and that's okay. When I first started playing with crystals, I talked out loud to them because I could hear them respond in my head, and when I talked out loud, it made me feel more comfortable. Whatever works for you is totally perfect for you. Don't judge yourself, but please do sit and have a dialogue or send energy into the stone and then wait and see if you get any response. Talking or telepathically communicating may not be something that resonates with you. So try different things. Try sending energy or just try rubbing it. See what works for you and your stone. Every stone is different and every person is different. Now that we've talked a little bit about some crystals that might be able to help you protect yourself or help you with your personal practices at home, I would love to read 2 passages from Master Your Inner World by Tracee Dunsblazier. The reason I chose these passages were passages that really spoke to me when I first started reading this book. Both of these passages are at the beginning of the book. I feel like their message of power was really important for me on my journey. I read this book probably about 3 years ago, and when I first read it, I was really skeptical of just how much power I really had. But when I had finished the book and I had put some of the suggestions that Tracee gives in the book into practice, I realized just how much personal power I truly had. And I feel that her book series is extremely liberating and real and raw. And it doesn't hold back. Tracee does not filter herself. She shares wholeheartedly with no shame. And I feel that more of us really should be doing the same. And unfortunately, to keep this show family friendly, I may change 1 or 2 phrasings so that I can keep this show kind of PG rated. So I hope Tracee can forgive me for the small edits, and I hope you guys understand why I have to do that. All right. Fight the devil and win, one demon at a time. All of my experiences in this life have been connected to echoes of untapped pain from past centuries. Pain doesn't go away with time. It patiently waits until it can be exercised and transformed into something different, something better. Pain holds your soul together and follows you from incarnation to incarnation, awaiting your attention. It is this process that cultivates compassion and opens your heart. As a spiritual empath, when the opportunity came for my heart to break open and let out some of that ancient pain, I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and let my vocal cords take over. It is my divine privilege to experience the healing of many incarnations of injustice within myself and to facilitate that same experience for others. I find that nothing strikes fear in people more than what they don't understand and can't control, or at the very least can't find humor in. Fear and courage. Fear and courage go hand in hand, and both came in abundance for me. In fact, I've learned that you cannot have one without the other. When I think back on my profound experiences of my spiritual journey within my life so far, the much larger picture becomes clear to me and seems so simple. There has never been a time in this life that I have been confused about who I truly am. The one constant theme is courage that overtakes fear, clarity that commandeers confusion, and ugliness that always gives way to beauty. So in retrospect, my garden path of brick became gold right before my eyes. My life and the main events that dotted it no longer provoked self-pity, but rather laughter from irony. The rhythm goes something like this. My father died when I was 11. Virginity taken from me at 18. Moved to a New York City ghetto instead of going to college at Texas Christian University, and finally moving to Los Angeles and ending up with a career as a psychic. Trust me, I know how easy it is to judge. For me, spirit is visually palpable, but for others, spirit is merely imagination, making healing very difficult. It is in this gap in perception where I started to understand why some people do not heal and how I needed to. Healing is a journey, not a judgment against you if you don't believe in what others can't see. Or if you can see things, you just can't believe. I wrote this book to create the opportunity for all of us to expand our awareness and experience of spirit. In the second passage, Demons 101. You have the power. This is the first thing you need to know about demons. You have all the power. Don't forget that. You have all the power. Demons don't want you to know that. Now that you know that, we can move forward. So many people have such a fear of demons. Given their history, I can understand why. However, you can only fear something as long as you don't understand it. I'd like to demystify it for you. Don't worry if you've heard that just hearing about demons will call them to you. The truth is, some people already have an awareness of them in some way, or will in the future, and some won't ever. If you've decided to read this chapter or buy this book, then you probably already have the vision and some understanding, or will need it in your future. All you will get from reading this is empowerment. If you don't know in your heart that you have all the power, then you are not ready and you should consider moving on to a new chapter. Again, the first thing you need to know about dealing with actual creepy entities from the underworld is that they are in your world. You are not in theirs. They need an invitation and a source of energy to be here. Now, let me break down the basics. The idea is that humans or other beings are not inherently evil, but they can adopt and can be harmed by the spirit of sin. I love these two passages. They're not actually together. These are in two separate parts of the first part of this book. The reason I chose these two passages is the first one explains why Tracee wrote this book and what inspired her to do so. And the second pretty much tells me what I need to know going in to this adventure she's about to bring me through. And I deeply appreciate the brutal reality that she really carries through, because so many of these spiritual empowerment books sugarcoat things and make you feel as if everything is just hunky-dory and fine and dandy, and that there is no danger or that there's nothing to be afraid of. And that always makes me feel a little uncomfortable, to be honest, because I feel as if they're missing the reason why I picked up the book in the first place. But Tracee is like, there's a lot of stuff in that book that I won't be able to read on my podcast just because I'm trying my best to keep this family friendly. But I just want you guys, the listeners, to understand that this book is a powerful tool in understanding how much power you truly have when dealing with any kind of entity or even a situation that you are not comfortable with. There's a part in her book where she talks about being in her car and knowing somewhere inside of her that she was going to get into an accident. And she saw the accident happening before it was happening. And she told herself, this is not an option. And because she had chosen in that moment that that wasn't an option, something, I can't remember the exact details, but something had happened that prevented that accident from occurring. And now every time she feels fear about a situation that she might be manifesting through her fear, she changes the energy by saying, this fear is not an option. I am choosing a different path. And I thought that sounded so ridiculous at first. But the more I tried it, the more I realized how I was almost tricking myself into not manifesting my fears. Because every time I've used it so far, my fears haven't happened, even if I was almost 100% certain that my fear was going to happen. And I have found that this method, the other methods, and this particular method, when applied regularly, gave me a sense of self-confidence and a sense of being able to control the unknown, which is something we all struggle with. And we almost feel as if we can't. We just can't control the unknown. But Tracee makes it feel very, very easy. So just to recap for today, we talked about our protection crystals, what these crystals can do when you're working on your shadow self and self-reflection, how to communicate with your crystals to start building a relationship and a dialogue. And I read 2 passages of Tracee Dunsblazier's book, Master Your Inner World, about how you have the power, because this is your reality, this is your world, and any kind of lower vibrational entity doesn't have any power. And to try and just keep that in mind when you're afraid of the oogie boogies in the closet. This is your room. You tell them to get out. You say, oogie boogie, get out of my room. You're not welcome here. And they gotta go. They gotta go. Your voice has higher vibrational power than even their entire shadow beingness. So I'm very glad you guys could join me today. And once again, I want to remind you that the last week of this month, I will be having Tracee Dunsblazier on for a personal interview. And we will be talking about her new book in the Demon Slayer's Handbook series about karma. I am so super excited to have her on, and I hope you are too. I look forward to having you guys with us on the 29th. If there are any topics that you would like to hear next month, please be sure to message me on Facebook or Instagram and let me know about some topics or any kind of information you'd like me to share. I'm an open book and I'm here to help you ascend. Once again, thank you for joining Rainbows Rising, where we ascend together. Are you ready to ascend to the next level? This is Rainbow Raaja, your spirit guide calling. Please be sure to keep all arms and legs inside your vessel at all times. I'm just here to remind you to take some time today. Support Rainbow's Rising podcast. Go. Join the Discord community. Check out the Patreon. Get some stickers, custom tarot cards. Check out the merch. The merch. You know you want to. Go connect with Rainbow Raaja. Maybe even get a session. Who knows? Your support helps make this show possible. And she loves to support you. Help support her too. Once again, this is Rainbow Raaja, your spirit guide, guiding you to your ascension.